If you're in the Atlanta area, you might be wondering if you should visit Six Flags Whitewater. Well, in this video, I'll be going over every detail about Six Flags Whitewater to see if it's really worth visiting or not. I'll also be giving some tips based off of my personal experience there not that long ago. So if you're curious on whether you should visit Six Flags Whitewater, stay tuned and watch this whole video to find out more. Let's get started. So I just wanted to start with some history about the park because one, this park's history is kind of interesting, and two, this park is much different than all the other Six Flags water parks. And that's because it never actually was originally a Six Flags water park. Because when Whitewater first opened, it was actually originally built by Hershend, which is the same company that owns Silver Dollar City and Dollywood, which Six Flags Whitewater definitely does give off Hershend vibe. It's definitely a more woodsy and hilly park, as when you're climbing up many of the slide towers, you'll be spending way less time on stairs and more time climbing up hills, which definitely gives this park a different vibe from other water parks. Now, personally, from the water parks I've been to, since I haven't visited Dollywood Splash Country or Silver Dollar City's Whitewater, the water park I'd personally compare Whitewater the most to is if Busch Gardens Williamsburg's water park, Water Country USA, had the Six Flags advertising. That's basically what you're getting with Six Flags Whitewater. So now that you know more about the history of Six Flags Whitewater, let's dive into the slide lineup. So as for the slides at Six Flags Whitewater, there's a ton of different slides to choose from. First off, you have the family raft slides, which include Bahama Bob and Runaway River, which I personally didn't get the chance to do these, but they look like your standard family raft slides, and they both seem to be pretty fun slides. And continuing on with the tube slides, you have Black River Falls, Python Plunge, and Tidal Wave, which for me, Tidal Wave was closed, but the other two are pretty solid tube slides, that's for sure. And with Python Plunge, that slide is easily, in my opinion, one of the best in the park. Not the best, but definitely up there, because the saucer turns make the ride feel way faster than it actually is. And then moving on to the body slides, in my opinion, the body slides is where Six Flags Whitewater really shine, because you have Dive Bomber, which is the park's trapdoor slide, and personally, this is the slide I'd recommend hitting first because it's a terribly slow loader, and because of that, can build up some pretty long wait. As for me personally, the wait wasn't all that long in of itself because I only had to wait through a couple flights of stairs. And because the wait wasn't all that bad, I thought it was gonna go by quickly. But because of the painfully slow operations, it ended up turning what should have probably been like a 20-minute wait max into like a 45-minute wait. So that's why I personally recommend hitting Dive Bomber first. And then moving on to some other body slides they have. So you have Dragon's Tail and Lizard's Tail. And these are two very similar slides with like a quad down. Actually, Dragon's Tail is the one with the quad down, and Lizard's Tail just had a double down. And for me, Lizard's Tail was closed, but at least for Dragon's Tail, that's easily the best slide at Six Flags Whitewater, as the first hump doesn't really do much, but the other three humps, you're out of your seat for a scary amount of time. Like, it really feels like you're about to fly off the slide and die. And then moving on to another body slide, you have Mutiny Chute. Now, this is a pretty small slide, but what makes it a bit special is that the drop into a pool is about 2-3 feet high, so you do get a nice free fall sensation into the pool. Other than that, it's nothing really all that special. And then you have two more family raft slides, and that being Tornado, which is your just standard tornado funnel slide. Nothing really all too special there. Those are all always pretty fun. I didn't do the one at Six Flags Whitewater, but I've done those slides at other Six Flags water parks, and they're pretty fun. And then you have Typhoon Twister, which is a family raft bowl slide, and this feels very similar to other raft bowl slides out there. Now, personally for me, I've never done one of these before with the 4-person raft. I'd only done them with the 2-person raft, and to be completely honest, they feel pretty much identical. So if you've done the family bowl slides with like the 2-person rafts, you pretty much know how they feel with the 4-person rafts. And then finally, you have Wahoo Racer, which was also closed for me when I went to Six Flags Whitewater, but this is the park's mat racer slide, and it just has a helix and then a drop into a runoff pool. And honestly, even though I didn't get to do this one, it doesn't really look all that good just because the drop itself into the runoff pool isn't very steep. So it doesn't really have a chance to give any like airtime or weightlessness, which is a bummer because these mat slides can give some decent weightlessness when you're on the drops. And then also, you do have some other attractions, like you do have a wave pool known as the Atlanta Wave Pool. And it's just your standard wave pool, I mean, nothing crazy. And then you also have the Little Hooch Lazy River, which this lazy river, like with the wave pool, it's nothing special. One thing I found weird about the lazy river is that the water temperature is probably a solid 5 to 10 degrees cooler than the water in the rest of the park. If anybody knows why, I'd honestly love to know in the comment section below. And overall, Six Flags Whitewater has a great slide lineup full of slides for people of all ages. So now let's go over the tickets to Six Flags Whitewater. Now, Six Flags Whitewater is quite affordable as a one-day ticket only costs $25 at the time of recording this video. Now, in my opinion, that's a total steal for what you get, as this water park, like I mentioned before, contains so many different slides so that you have so much to do, and for $25, that's a total steal for that price. And then as for the season pass options, you have the Gold Pass, which is currently $60 at the time I'm recording this video. And now that is just the season pass for Six Flags Whitewater. That does not include Six Flags Over Georgia. So if you want to visit both Six Flags Whitewater and Over Georgia for the season, you need to pay for the Platinum Pass, which is $110 at the time of recording this video. Now this does give you a lot of other benefits like some discounts and free parking at both Six Flags Over Georgia and Whitewater, which is definitely nice. But other than that, thank you for watching this video, and if you're heading up to Atlanta on your next vacation, check out my video on how to have the best day ever at Six Flags Over Georgia, and peace.